You're right. I should have protected you. We let our guard down, and as your leader, I accept full responsibility for that. But there's still time. Hey, we can get together the whole city and unite against this threat.
Why should we believe you?
Because I'm a mall rat. And you know what that means? We defeated the locals. We found the antidote to the virus. We got rid of the Chosen. The mall rats have always taken care of you. And we always will.
Welcome to Series 4, Episode 2 of Conversations on Eagle Mountain, a podcast about the tribe. I am your host, Lance, and joining the podcast panel today is Liz.
Hello.
Sabine.
Hi.
And Tamsin.
Hello.
With episode notes done by Matt and myself. So Series 4, Episode 2, the screenplay was done by David Fox. It was directed by Julian McSweeney. And the episode synopsis read out by Tamsin.
Trudy supports Amber as the time comes for her to give birth, while the remaining mole rats attempt to rustle up some resistance as the invaders prepare the city for their leader's arrival.
So yeah, just a very quick PSA to listeners, because we've been getting a lot of comments coming through. So yeah, first of all, obviously thank you for everyone who's joining us, because I know Series 4 was a big jumping on point for a lot of new fans. One of the biggest questions we keep getting at the moment is, have we read the books and the audiobooks? Due to some of our comments you've heard. So yeah, if you're a new fan, you may not have noticed that obviously we do try to limit book discussion, because obviously not everyone's read it or listened to it. But yes, we have read it and we are aware of returning characters and what happens. I just wanted to quickly put that out there.
And if you're really good boys and girls, maybe we will go over the books when we finish the show, because we like each other enough to keep punishing ourselves this way.
Is that why we need more books?
We're going to go chapter by chapter.
Yeah, exactly. Scene by scene, page by page. You're going to be stuck with us forever. Keep the dream alive.
We'll get round to a new tomorrow as well.
Oh my, yeah, I forgot about that.
Bray was here, but he left again to go and get help. He wanted me to tell you that he's very proud of you. And the baby's the most beautiful thing he's ever seen.
With Bray nowhere to be seen, Trudy encourages Amber through the birth of her son, but leaves mother and baby to rest as she quickly discovers the ring that Amber gave to Bray on the ground outside, realizing that something must have happened to Bray. So yeah, well, panel, what did you make of the birth itself, as well as Trudy's decision not to tell Amber the truth about Bray?
I think the birth scene's fine. I think it's well acted. I'm not a fan of the dialogue, but I'm not a fan of the dialogue in any of this episode, so I'm not going to dock it points for that. But I think the acting from the girls is great. It's directed fine, pretty low key. It's not as impressive as, say, Trudy giving birth. It doesn't seem to have the same sort of meaning of Trudy giving birth. I don't feel like there's many layers. With Trudy giving birth, this was a new life after the world has ended, so you have that layer. It was very emphasized that Trudy was a child. The fact that she was pregnant and needed care, and the decision it took for the Mallrats to keep her, all of that. There were so many layers on top of the fact that Trudy was giving birth, what Brady's birth meant, and the danger Trudy was in. I don't feel like any of that substance was here with Amber, but just as a regular birth scene that you would find in any TV show, this is fine. Beth and Antonia are doing a good job, convincingly conveying childbirth as well as a TV show can.
I have to say, I found it interesting to see Amber instantly switch to screaming that she hates Bray.
Yeah, it felt a little cliched.
Yep, he's not there, and so therefore she hates him.
It's the cliche that that's what a birthing female is supposed to say. She hates the man who did this to her.
Mm.
And I didn't find that as poignant as Trudy screaming, "I want my mom."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that was much more fitting.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really nice piece of writing for Trudy that she keeps from Amber what has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like the writers are so schizophrenic around Trudy, because this isn't the first time we've actually seen her do something like this. She does do things like this all the time, but then the writers want to tell us, oh, but she's so sort of over the top and she's so crazy and she always does these overblown things. But actually, when you dig in to Trudy's character, there are lots of instances where she puts the needs of other people above herself, like when she was kidnapped and she sacrificed herself to save Lex. And here she is trying to keep Amber focused on her son, on what has happened, and sort of take the pain that she's going to feel when she knows that something's happened to Bray. She's trying to take that away from her and spare her from that for as long as she possibly can.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
plus she's putting the baby's interest first in that as well. Because that baby is desperate for some milk. She tells Amber the baby's hungry. Can you please try? And she knows that if she were to give Amber that news right in that moment, there's no way Amber can do that.
Mm.
She wouldn't be able to. I just think she wouldn't be able to control her emotions enough to be able to properly feed the baby.
Yeah, she's got to worry about Amber's well-being, not just her physical, but her emotional.
Yeah.
Antonia does a very good job of conveying the emotion she has. She cares about this person deeply. Amber is like a sister to her. This is her best friend. She is scared for her. She is desperate to help her through this situation, and has no help whatsoever. Not even a bunch of kids in a mall. She's got no one. It's just her and a toddler, and she's got to get through this. And by some miracle, they both make it. By some freaking miracle, Amber gives birth to the alien baby she only carried for 3 months, and they're both okay. and then she just, she's wondering, where are you, Bray? Herself. She's concerned because she cares about him too. That's her brother. Where the frick is he? He would never miss something like this. So where is he? Something must be wrong, only to find his ring to confirm something is wrong. Oh my gosh. So she is dealing with the grief that something has happened to someone she cares about, and knowing the shared and added grief. If she tells Amber, how is she going to tell Amber this? And I think she just does a really good job of sucking that up, her own fears of what's happened to him, and knowing it can't be good because there's no way he would miss the birth of his child by choice. He wouldn't just wander off like that. And wanting to protect Amber for as long as possible, and how quickly and even the things she chooses to tell Amber instead. He came, he was here, he said how proud he is of you and that your baby is the most beautiful thing he's ever seen, and choking back tears, because she's also thinking, in fact, he hasn't even seen his own child.
Yeah.
Where is he? What's happened to him? He's missing this. And so I thought Antonia did a fantastic job with that as well.
Yeah, because the realization in that for Trudy, Bray was there for Brady's birth, but not for the birth of his own child. That's just, Trudy knows that's not something Bray would ever risk.
Yeah. And also finding the ring as well, which she knows that he wouldn't be parted from.
Yeah.
Not while Amber's still alive.
Yeah. But like both of you say, it is also really well acted, because you remember how much Bray actually means to Trudy.
Yeah.
because she loves him. She loves him as Bray. She loves him as the uncle, the father figure for her daughter. You know, all of that comes through. So it's not just, as you both said, her trying to protect Amber, but there's that other layer of her own grief.
May I just say, I found it adorable that they took the time to have her introduce this little baby to Brady, and to take that moment with her, his dad and your dad were brothers. This is your cousin.
Yeah, it's actually pretty sweet in the barn with the ladies acting their butts off with what they're given, and the held back emotions, and the kids. I give them credit for filming the scene with actual small children as much as they could, And again, it's like I will always give the show credit for just how much they dealt with having a baby on set with teenagers. Like that's tough, and they did it a lot for a lot of episodes. And this couldn't. I was just thinking of this several times. The girls have to talk with two babies in the scene, and how many times that was interrupted by the kids or whatever, and yet they still did it. And I'll give them props for that.
And Damien is here. He has arrived.
A generic bologna loaf of a baby.
You know what? The only minor thing that annoyed me, and it's a very minor thing, but I just wanted to point it out, is the music score that plays after the birth. It just felt the word.
Immature.
Yes.
Like a lullaby.
Yeah.
For like such a significant moment, as we've all just been mentioned and said, it just felt, it didn't have the gravitas it needed.
Yeah.
It reminded me of, in the olden days, like Sim 2, when you'd get a baby in Sims 2, it reminded me of the sort of music you got for that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like the focus is so much on it's Amber having having the Bramber baby. Like that's what's important, rather than this is a young woman giving premature birth in a barn. She has zero supplies. She could lose her life. This baby,
She's just
it'll
been
be a
banished.
miracle if it's alive. That is what should be the poignancy, that they both survived this. But it just feels too much on the nose, like it's a Bramber baby. This is what we've all waited for, and I don't feel like it hits.
I'm going to say, I honestly never wanted this baby. I don't like this baby.
No, not alone.
I don't wanted it. I think it ruins Amber's character.
Yeah, I'm a big Bramber fan, but no, it does. And obviously what we see later on with how she handles the child, it doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. And yeah, I agree.
Well, there was even that bit in the barn where it feels like Amber's going to reject the baby until Trudy gives that speech about Bray, and then she's like, "Oh, my son." It felt very. It was just
Well, I mean, you guys, she literally just gave birth. She was exhausted, and yeah, she came to pretty confused and out of it. She probably lost a lot of blood, a lot of fluids, and it took a minute for someone to remind her, "Hey, are you okay? Do you remember what you did? Do you remember why you're here?" So I don't mind that, and I don't think it signifies anything of her natural motherhood or anything like that.
No.
I mean, because I certainly didn't have I didn't have the Trudy reaction when my child was born, where I was like, "Oh, I'm complete," and "Oh my gosh." I literally poked him and was like, "Ew, he's sticky." Like that was my response to giving birth to my first child. I didn't have the movie reaction to my baby where I cried and I hugged him. I was in shock, and so I actually appreciate the fact that Amber's out of it and needs to be kind of reminded of what's happened to her, because that was a traumatic event she just went through, and is like, "Oh, my brain is foggy. I can barely remember what I've been doing. I have no concept of time." In fact, I think she bounces back a little too easily considering what she just went through. And
True.
So I like the fact that she doesn't immediately go, "Where's my baby?" Like, she wakes up confused and she's thinking of Bray, like, where is he? I don't see him.
Yeah.
And then needs to be reminded, you gave birth. And then like, "Oh my gosh, yes, there's a baby. Like, oh wow, let me see him.
I know what that is.
You know, is that why I need an ice diaper? Okay.
Did anyone notice that her bump disappeared?
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes it does. You know, she's young. She has the advantage of bouncing back quickly.
That is one hell of a bounce back.
Yeah, but that's what you get for such a short pregnancy.
Exactly. She didn't have to carry it for very long. Very short gestational period.
Okay, I reckon they were going east.
Oh, why east?
Back to the airstrip, because it's probably got the planes for to fly the presents out.
No, don't say that.
I'm just guessing.
Well, don't.
Why not?
Because if Jack's right and Alice and the rest of them fly out of the city on that plane, we'll probably never see them again.
Great, Chloe. Thanks for clearing that up.
So yeah, panel, after like the character's initial apathy that we saw in the first episode, how do you feel about this sudden spur to action and how it was written?
I kind of feel like it makes sense for Lex to want to go now. Like, because in the previous episode, he was so lethargic and it didn't make sense for his character. Now that he knows Tysan has actually been taken, it makes sense that he's not really thinking clearly and the first thing he wants to do is get her back. I kind of feel like this scene might have been improved if maybe it had been Lex and Ellie, who we know are really fiery characters who always lead with their hearts instead of their heads. And they are the two who are like, no, we are going to get our loved ones back. And Jack goes because Ellie's gone. And then you've got essentially sort of Pride trying to be the voice of reason. Ebony going along to make sure she's still the head of everything that's happening because her empire's shrinking by the minute, right? But instead of that, it doesn't feel, it feels like they're all singing from the same like hymn sheet almost immediately. And you don't get any of those sort of political sort of discussions that would go on and how everybody is kind of, we should go and do this, we shouldn't. It's kind of nix quite quickly, we're just going to go off and do this, but before we go off and do this, I need everybody's assurity that I'm still in charge. That's what it felt like.
I feel like this scene is emblematic of my problem with the entirety of season 4. On paper, everything that's happening in this scene makes perfect sense. It's fine, plot-wise, perfectly fine. Everyone's getting together, realizing the seriousness of the situation, and let's go get our people back. The discussions of should we, blah, 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 all of that, fine. But when I see it on the screen, it looks like a joke. I can't always explain why that keeps happening, but this looks too comical for me to take seriously. There's like, as the title is The Seven Dwarves, and that's exactly how it feels. It feels so cartoonish that it's literally just this small group of people who decide we're going to go get our people back. And they filmed it this way, this pathetic motley crew of what's left, constant reminder to the audience that all of the other characters you loved are gone, and these are literally the only people who are going to try to get them back. This is their show of force. I like, there's nobody else in the city that you guys could talk to who would join you on this crusade to get their loved ones back. Are you freaking serious? Like,
No one. Yeah.
seeing it visually, I can't take any of this seriously. I feel like I'm being slapped in the face with a fish at how silly this is. That there's 7 people in the entirety of the city who want to get their kidnapped loved ones back. Are you kidding me? There's nobody else. Nobody. And I just, it's a hammer to the temple that this is all we've got left of our cast. And I do feel like this could have been filmed much better to have a sense of meaning. People have been kidnapped, taken away. Okay, this is a slave drive. Okay, colonizers have come and taken a huge percentage of the city kids away, and only 7 people are gonna go and do anything about it.
No one else seems to care.
Nobody else seems to care.
It feels in character for the Mallrats, though.
It feels very flat, though.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not even rooting for them. I'm like, give up the game, take your ball and go home. You've lost. Like that's because of the way it's filmed. It just
And you could have a lot of. I was going to say you could have gotten some pathos out of this. The fact that it is just the 7 of them, that everything has just come down to this. Or you could even have had a situation where they arrive outside the techno base and there are people already there, wanting, you could easily have put those extras in front of the techno base and for Ebony to have delivered some sort of rousing speech. Then
they blew the budget on episode 1.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that you have Jack constantly poking fun at the joke that there's literally only 7 of them
That's the
whole
thing.
time.
That's what really upset me about this, actually, the scene, because like it is played for laughs and it is filmed for laughs, but it's freaking sad. We've lost all of our Morats, like a massive majority. This should be a sad moment. This should be a sad scene where we're literally fighting for the lives of our loved ones. They've been sold into slavery. We don't know what's happening to them. They could die for all we know, and it is played for laughs. And it actually frustrates me a lot. This actually whole scene.
And like Chloe says, once they get on that plane, we're never going to see them again.
Literally never.
There should be a clock ticking in your brain.
Yeah.
The audience should feel that if they don't get to the base, if they don't get there, what are they going to do? They're never going to see them again.
This should be an emotional moment, but it's laughable. It's laughable.
Yeah.
It is literally laughable.
It is.
And it's like, again, I understand we can't do anything about the fact that half the cast is gone. But should we at least acknowledge that this is sad? That this is horrifying for the people remaining? And film it that way and make sure the tone matches how desperately sad this is. That it's just the 7 of them coming up against this force that they can't fight. Because guess what? They're doing it out of love. Give us our family members back, man.
And they walk. They walk so slowly. It's like a slow march towards this thing. They're trudging along. There's no, like I said, there's no clock ticking in your head, which there would be. Every step you took, you wouldn't get there fast enough. That's how you would feel.
Especially for people like Lex, it just feels wrong.
It does, yeah.
Why isn't he rushing? I mean,
exactly.
And even with what they've been trying to tell us about Pride, you'd even expect him to, try and get there quicker.
Yeah, because
sure, May's gone. He's gone. He's rid of the problem, but
it's not just about May, is it? Because let's be honest, he doesn't know where Amber is.
No.
He's just assuming that Amber and Bray are out of the city and that they're safe. But there's another part of your brain that would go, well, what if they're not? What if she is there as well?
Yeah. It's bad.
It's frustrating.
It's bad. It's poorly done. And it drives me crazy because, I told you, I've mentioned many times, first time I tried to watch season 4, I didn't make it to the halfway point before I gave up on the show. And for a year, I said, I guess the show is not for me anymore. I don't know where it went, but I can't go with it. But obviously, the love for the show is an addictive drug. And I came crawling back like, oh, well, let me see. Like, maybe we can fix our problems. And the only way I could get through season 4 was, you guys remember Tribal Digest?
Yeah.
Okay, they'd almost make like comic panels of every episode. And that's how I got through season 4. I read it. And I remember reading it and thinking, wow, on paper, this isn't that bad. Having the plot summarized as to what's happening in every episode without the dialogue, without having to see how it was implemented. And I was like, this is actually not that terrible. But every time I watch it, I'm like, how do you do this so badly? Like, on paper, this is fine. Like, it's suitable. It's not impressive, but it works. And yet when I see it on film, I'm like, oh my gosh. And that's how I felt about this scene. I'm like, at the end of the day, what's happening, like the plot points of what's happening aren't terrible. Like, this is what they ought to be doing. Yes, this is reactive behavior I can relate to and I can understand. But seeing it, I'm like, this is terribly done.
I was trying to think of something good to say for the Series 4 fans, but
And I'm literally sitting here with a stink face. I'm like, if they could see my expression. I'm grimacing at my computer screen. This is ridiculous.
Oh, I've got something positive. It's nice to see such a big number of more rats walking around the city. We've not seen that in ages.
It's nice to see more than one person go after someone that's kidnapped.
Good point.
okay, well, yeah. This
Even
is
if
good. This is good.
Even if half of them are reluctant, at least they rallied as a group to go and get some kidnapped people.
It's more effort than Brady ever got.
That's true. I was going to say, I thought Chloe's costume looked really good. Again, it was the best one. And outside, it looks even better.
The color correction is quite nice.
Yes.
And hey, Pride's hair is back. Pride's hair looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm loving
that's true.
Yes, thank you for bringing that back. I missed that.
But yeah, panel, speaking of Pride. So
I'm sorry.
You're a mole rat, Ebony. Since when?
Since before you came on the scene, Tofu Boy. What do you know about it?
Well, let me see. I know you left Amber on Eagle Mountain, pretended she was dead. I know you helped Ned keep her hostage, and I know you banished her when she was pregnant. What else do I need to know?
And why this scene irks me is because suddenly Pride seems to suddenly know of Ebony's deep involvement in the kidnapping of Amber and Trudy. And he rattles off all these things that's happened, which we only had like a whisper from the Guardian about. So is this just the writers dropping the ball? Is it just a quick hand scene to just show us how bad Ebony has been to set up the Amber confrontation? What do you think it is?
It's both.
It's a writer's shortcut. They've already, like, each season, they decide what they're going to carry forth from the last season to the next, okay? And they tend to almost rewrite what we should care about. So, for example, rewriting the fact that Amber is so close to birth. We know for a fact that's not true, but they're rewriting what happened so that, you know, that's what we should be concerned about. She's so close to birth and she's been banished, you know. This is just catching the audience up on this is the reality for this season. So the reality for this season is somehow it's common knowledge that Ebony worked with Ned to keep the girls kidnapped, even though we know for a fact that isn't what happened. Not everybody knows that. It was only a suspicion, and Bray and Amber never spoke to Pride about it at all. They talked to Trudy and Tysan. They're the only ones who knew that this suspicion that Ebony was messing around in the background doing this stuff. Pride had no knowledge of it. But
which was interesting.
Right. So it's just the audience knows, yes, establishing that Ebony has caused a lot of bad faith in the city so that you'll understand why no one's going to rally behind her to beat the Technos so the Technos can be our baddies for a season. You know, it's a writer's trick. It's a lazy one, but it's one the show has employed many times, and that's all that is.
To me, it always felt like that was just put in there for the newer fans to know why not everyone was supportive of Ebony. And just to summarize.
Yeah, because they even bring up things like Eagle Mountain.
Yeah.
And I think it's just to, as you guys have said, just to underscore the fact that going forward, Ebony and Amber have beef, the reasons why, and how that will unfold. And like you say, it is for those newer members of the audience who are jumping in, who don't know the relations to any of these characters really, and they're speed running you through the previously on with these info dumps about things. And like you said, there was suspicion around Ebony, but Amber was suspect of Ebony about Ebony's general behavior, but I'm not totally sure she was on the she did it train.
No.
And the idea that Pride has worked this out when he lived with Ned for months or weeks, depending on however long they were in that room. The timeline's not very clear. And yet he never worked out that it was Ned. And now he's pieced it all together within half an hour of Amber being banished.
Yeah.
Like, this is... Pride didn't even follow Ned when he suspected Ned was hiding something. And you want me to believe that he put it all together.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But what I was also going to say is that we're going to get a character who's going to be a step in for Amber later. But I feel like Pride is going to take over that Bray area with the asking questions and I'm not quite sure about this and being overly suspicious of Ebony, which sometimes Bray was suspicious of Ebony and her motivations. Sometimes he wasn't, depending on what the writers thought he should be doing at different times.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the whole point is it's just so that Pride will have a new motivation for this season.
Yeah.
You have to establish that he doesn't trust Ebony. These are the reasons why. Even if it doesn't make sense for him to know all these reasons, he shouldn't trust her. And so that he won't want to follow her when she agrees to, cooperate with the Technos or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just establishing his new motivation and establishing his obsession with Amber, blah, blah, blah. It's so that you know why he has a reason for behaving the way he's going to behave going forth. Ignore everything about him in the past, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? That's what it's all there for,
Yeah.
So it's one of those exposition dumps that it's like, okay, that's not consistent with everything that's happened, but whatever. I guess this is our new reality.
That's exactly what annoys me, though. Like, if you're gonna do an exposition dump of these things that people shouldn't know, like Pride, why even list that moment? Like, there's so many other moments you could have listed about Ebony. Why put that moment in if you're not gonna follow it through? And obviously, the conclusions of what that whole event happened. You know what I mean? Like, why even list it then? Like, it just feels like poor writer.
Reactions.
But there was so many other things to do. Like you could have said about Ebony. Why use that one when you haven't even followed it through?
You would require another person who actually has a longer history with Ebony, No,
I mean just that one moment. You could have forgotten that one moment. You could put any other thing about Ebony. Like, why put this one moment which you haven't developed and finished off?
Because this is Pride's motivation, so I don't know. Lazy writing. You're the viewer. You're not smart enough to notice or call it out.
Like, okay, writers, yes, you've got a whole load of new fans on board here from season 4, but you have the fans from season 3 still here. Like, don't just ignore what has happened and what you haven't developed yet. Like, this is what is frustrating.
I'm going to add about the new fans. When they wrote these scripts, they didn't know that they would get these new fans. They were hoping they would. But those new fans are not cast iron when they wrote these scripts.
But everything is written for them. The writing is positioned for them.
Yeah. But this is why it feels flat, it feels risky, and it's not the same as it was. I mean, season 3 was just the worst, but the writing so far, this writing that we've had, it's not that it's the worst, but it's just there's nothing behind it. You don't get any emotions, you don't get any character beats. As bad as season 3 was, we still had some interesting character moments and things where you go, yeah.
That's where we are? Okay. Now we're complimenting season 3?
Already?
We're already there? We're only in episode 2!
Yeah, exactly!
Oh, God.
Whoa.
It's going to get worse this episode, Liz. It really is. Wait till we get to
okay.
No way. Are we there already? No way.
What is that thing with the cat? I feel like we've reached the chicken or the egg situation. In season 3, we were like, well, at least season 4 did this. That's how bad season 3 got. And we're only in episode 2 of season 4, and we're already like, well, at least season 3. I can't believe we're already there.
Can't believe it, yeah.
That's just me. It's just me. I'm already there. It's just that I felt it was flat. It was lifeless. I felt like nobody wanted to be there. You get the feeling that nobody wants to be there anymore.
Tamsin, we're halfway through episode 2.
Damn, she's already thrown in the towel, guys.
I need to get another t-shirt now, don't I?
Oh my gosh.
But picking up what you were saying, Lance, I do agree with what Pride could have pointed out, because he already mentions Eagle Mountain leaving Amber for dead, and then he mentions her being banished. He didn't have to then also say about Ned. We just didn't need it.
Could have just ignored that and then
and like you say, it doesn't go anywhere.
No.
And for me, it was the reactions of everybody else. The fact that nobody even looked up. Like, Chloe wouldn't know about this. When Jack was coming back to the mall, he saw them having that conversation and didn't get involved with it. So he wouldn't know about this. Ellie
It
had
would
her
be
own
great
stuff.
if it. You're. I think you just made the best point there, Tamsin. It doesn't go anywhere. You know what I
No.
mean? Like, if this really was like, you've just proved there's no reason for these people to be following Ebony or letting her be in charge. If Pride is laying these charges at her feet, okay, of all these horrible things that she's done, and he's the only one who cares.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, none of the other Mallrats care that Ebony has done these things to Amber, because that's what Pride is focused on. You did all these things to Amber, and the other Mallrats are like, yeah, we knew she did those terrible things. We followed her through worse. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, why are you even bringing it up? Remember, this is Ebony's the lead character now. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't understand. This isn't going to go anywhere. It's not going to stop these guys from following her and letting her still be in charge. Yeah, it doesn't really serve that much of a point except to make Pride look that obsessed with Amber. Because literally the rest of the tribe are like, they have nothing to say. Lex is the only one who has something to say about it. And it's like, I don't care what she's done. I'm trying to get my wife back.
And that is in character.
And that's like, that's fine. But nobody else gives a crap about the things that they know she's done. And they're just like, yeah, whatever. Even if we're reluctantly here and we're going to keep saying we think this is a bad idea. And what if they kill us and blah, blah, blah. In fact, I literally think Ebony, Lex, and Ellie are the only ones who are like, let's do this. Everyone else is just kind of like, we weren't that close with our friends. So, whatever.
But that makes sense, though. That makes sense with Lex and Ellie because it's his wife and it's her sister. So that does make sense that they are the most fired up to go and do this.
So this is really, it's just for the audience. Like, that's literally the only reason we're hearing. I hate Ebony's rally speech. I don't hate the fact that she's giving one. This is in character for Ebony. She is good with the mob. She has had some amazing moments controlling the mob. It is what she is good at. It is her talent. Kudos to you, girl. So it doesn't bother me that she runs into 5 kids on the street and tries to give a speech. I hate the speech, though. It's not that she's invoking the Mallrat name. She's done that before. I don't think it makes sense for her to be invoking the Mallrat name right now.
Nope.
Ebony, did you forget that the only reason you were able to get city leader is because these kids didn't want to vote for a Mallrat called Bray? They don't like the Mallrats. The Mallrats have not been popular in the last season. That's why Ebony was able to step in and get the role, because she's not fully associated with the Mallrats. It made sense in season 2 during the virus.
She's just banished 2 of them.
Right! Like, this doesn't make sense. You were able to turn a mob against the leaders of the Mallrats because these kids hated the Mallrats for keeping the Guardian away from them. Okay? And now you're going to invoke their name as if that's going to mean anything to these kids?
True. Yep.
This was a stupid speech for them to give her, and Ebony is smarter than that.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. She's not supposed to be able to rally anybody. Give her better words that don't work to emphasize how scared and demoralized the children are from what they've just seen and what they've just gone through. But not this stupid speech about, I'm a Mallrat and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this is the worst time to invoke them because we literally just went through a season with them being so hated by everyone.
Maybe that's why it didn't work.
But I'm just saying, like, I get that you need the kids to not respond to the speech. But Ebony is smart enough to know that invoking the Mallrat name wouldn't get her anywhere right now. She knows that she can control the mob and, like, they don't like the Mallrats. You know? And so it just sounds stupid for her to be like, I'm a Mallrat, like that matters right now. Like, oh, those people that we freaking hate, we literally just chased their leaders out. We hate them that much that we threw a bunch of cabbages at a pregnant woman to get the heck out of our city on pain of death if they ever return or are
Mhm.
harbored by any of us. Oh, I'm totally, let's go get their friends back. You're a mall rat. Like, this is the dumbest speech they could have given her. And it's cheesy. It's like it's badly written, this speech. It's so stupid. And I felt bad for Meryl because she's such a good actress and had to deliver this garbage. Like, she's better than this. And and the music sting.
Music,
like, oh
I've been saying.
This is what makes me mad when you want to reinvent something. If you want to make a reboot, remake of a classic, reinvent your TV show, go for it. Kudos to you. You don't want to make your dad Superman? Fine. Go and make your version of Superman. But stop counting on the nostalgia of the original Superman. And then being mad at people who are like, but that's not my Superman. Well, I wasn't making your Superman. Yeah, but you were counting on me wanting to see my Superman. They do this in season 4. They pull on your nostalgic strings for the original, the tribe, what you love, the flashbacks, everything, the music stings, the moments they emphasize are all to pull on your nostalgia of the show you loved while spitting in your face and telling you this is not the show you loved. Get over it. Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get so angry. I apologize. But yeah, that moment is all about that, where I'm a mall rat. It's pulling on your heartstrings, your love for what the show started as and what the mall rat stood for, while also telling you that your show isn't the one it is. So get on board with the new thing we made. And it's like, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too. You want to make something new? Then make something new. But you cannot keep drawing on the nostalgia to keep me here.
It does feel like that, yeah. I can't argue with that.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Phone voice, Liz. Phone voice.
I mean, for the season 4 fans, I would say I really liked that there was a member of the mob that had these sort of tiger print slippers. I liked that.
Was that a compliment?
Yeah, on the wardrobe department.
I also liked Sammy's styling. He was really good in the mob. I liked his styling.
His hair looks amazing.
It does. It's a shame it doesn't look like that the rest of the time.
They haven't casted Sammy yet, so yeah, it was just random.
If he looked like that, he might have had a shot with Gal after all.
Just to put a little positive spin on that scene, I did love Ebony suddenly saying, "Oh, I've been a mall rat longer than you, Tofu Boy." Like, I did like that kind of cut back to him, but
it's true.
Yeah,
Well, is Pride even technically a mall rat?
Nope.
No.
but neither is Ebony. So, like,
okay, but he's not welcome, Ebony.
In her defense, she's done more for the mall rats.
She's done more for them.
Ever done. I swear, he is literally just like hanging out in their house. He brings nothing to the table. I don't know how Pride contributes at all since he's arrived, okay?
Well, he doesn't just hang out there. He constantly complains about it as well.
It's true. It's like, go home, Roger. Jeez, Amber's never going to choose you. My goodness.
I mean, spoiler, she might. You know, for people who haven't seen it.
He's still hanging on.
Doing a watch along.
You know, if Pride had actually not gone back for May, but stayed with Trudy and been there for Amber while she delivered that baby, he might have had a shot.
I'm gonna say, yeah, he might have had a shot. He let Lex guilt him into it. Like, dude, are you just accept that you don't want her? Oh my gosh!
I don't even know how he managed to stay behind. That was just...
They wanted him in the city. Like, they could have just sent him home. Think of how happy he would have been. He would have been with Amber.
And the baby. With her baby daddy gone.
He could have made his moves.
You've got a fever. We should get you inside. Are you alone? Is there somebody else with you? Don't feel like talking, huh? Listen, I'm gonna help you. Will you come with me? It's not far.
So yeah, panel, like, following on from the whole Seven Dwarves scenario, like, with so many characters not returning for Series 4, like, were you pleased to see Salene? And, like, was it not painfully obvious that we had traded Andy and Tally for Mouse and Charlie?
I was actually relieved to see Salene. And I can't believe I'm saying that, but Salene returning was the highlight of this episode for me.
And you can't ever
Yeah.
take it back because now we have it
Nope.
recorded.
I know.
Well,
But
come
enjoy-
on. Law of averages, guys. Wouldn't we be happy to see any other mall rat pop up again? Like, let's just put it in context.
No, it's not just seeing Salene again. It's seeing Salene more in the light that we were introduced to her in season 1. It's Salene finding a child, looking after a child.
Yeah.
Just like she was looking after Chloe and Patsy and Paul.
Yeah.
I will admit, it is a nice mirror image to our introduction to Salene. That in her heart, there is, as much as I have said that I think she's a narcissist and all that stuff like that, and I hold to it, but I think there was something nice about seeing one of the good points of Salene, that even when she's got very little going for her, her compassion for a child that needs care, whether she'll be able to commit to that child is a whole different story, but the fact that she sees a child in need and immediately thinks to help. But I also like the growth. In the beginning, when we meet her, she takes these kids in, takes care of them, but even while admitting she doesn't know what to do with them, she can't do it for very long, and she's thinking of turning herself and the children into one of the big tribes because she can't keep running from them. She can't keep feeding these kids. She doesn't have a safe place to keep them. She can't even keep an eye on all 3 of them, you know? And but here's a more confident Salene who does know a safe place and is immediate making a decision of what to do. Whereas when we first met her, she immediately turned to Amber to make her decisions once they encountered each other. And so I like that. I like that mirror image of the change that like a couple years can make in a person. And it's a nice reintroduction to Salene rather than just words saying that she's grown up and that her travels have changed her.
Yeah.
Her actions show that she's grown up and her travels have changed her. There's a confidence. She's not as fragile as she was when we last saw her. And, you know, I was happy to see her. I like Victoria, you know, and again, part of it was just, it was so happy to see another frickin' Mallrat survive the massacre, you know? So it's like, hey, how you doing, girl?
It's just, it's just really nice to have her back. And have
And
her
her-
back like this.
Her coat is awesome. I love her coat.
Oh, yes.
Girl, yes, wear it. Yes, Slay Queen.
Oh, it's amazing. The outfit
She did.
is brilliant.
She did some awesome shopping while she was out there.
But I think I agree with you guys. I echo your point. I think the strength of this episode is in the Salene return. And as you said, Liz, it does feel like there is a truth in what she's saying because of her actions. And it does feel like maybe Salene needed to spend some time on her own and she needed to connect with who she actually was because she'd never been able to do that.
Yeah. So I like the way that was done. I'm not going to lie. I'm one of the few people who probably didn't like Mouse and Charlie immediately. It took a long time for them to win me over because I immediately just saw them as replacing the other 2 cute kids. That's how I saw it. I was like, oh, the other 2 cute kids didn't work out, so we got to replace them with some more cute kids. You're not winning me over that easy because I don't give a crap about cute kids. You know what I mean? That was my thought process. So I didn't care how cute Mouse was, how cute Charlie was, their vulnerable situation. I was like, where are Tally and Andy? I cannot believe you just ditched those kids after killing their brother. Just ditch the twins.
I'm going to be honest. I was glad to see the back of Tally and Andy. I said what I said.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you know what? Okay, see, this is my problem with them being ditched. Okay, Lex was a jerk. A lot of the characters were not their best in season 1, but the point was that they were human beings. They had high points, they had low points. And because they let the characters hang around, we got a chance to fall in love with them all in different ways. And I felt like they stopped giving characters a chance to show different colors or do anything with the characters. So it's like Tally and Andy were thrown away before you did anything with them, and let the audience get to know them and grow with them and fall in love with them, only to replace them with 2 more cute kids. Like, oh, those cute kids didn't work. Well, we got some more in the alleyway, you know? And that's what annoyed me.
For me, they never truly felt like replacements for Tally and Andy. They felt like, to me, it felt more like they were replacing the first images we had of Patsy and Paul.
They're cute kids replacing cute kids.
Yeah.
That's all they are.
Yeah.
Chloe no longer qualifies as a cute kid. That's
Nope.
why Tally and Andy were brought in, because Patsy, Chloe, and Casey were no longer small cute kids. That's why we got Tally and Andy.
And they didn't know what to do with Tally and Andy without Casey there.
And then they were like, well, we won't bother doing anything with them. We'll just replace them
We'll just
with more
replace
cute
them.
kids.
This is a whole issue we're going to get with season 4, with just replacing.
Don't worry, Mouse and Charlie do eventually win me over. But it took a freaking long time, okay? Because I need more than that.
No, that's understandable.
I was like, oh, great. More cute kids that you're not going to do anything with. Awesome. But, you know. I admit, when I first saw Mouse, I was like, oh, for Pete's sake. For reals? Realsies? Really? This is what we're doing? It's like every sitcom that I grew up watching. As soon as like the youngest child grew up, they would either suddenly someone have a baby, or they would just adopt another tiny kid to add to the family, because you have to have a tiny kid in the sitcom roster. And that's what seeing Mouse and Charlie made me think.
I'm not sure about Selene's Karen hair.
I like it. I know that's a controversial haircut, but she's killing it. It's one of her best looks. She's got the head for it. The color's fine. I think she's working it. She looks confident.
It's nice that she's finally got a half decent costume though, because let's be honest, other than the wedding, they've not really given her much, have they?
Yeah, they've done her dirty so many times in the hair department.
Yeah.
And finally, Victoria was like, I'm hiring my own stylist. I'm sick of you people. Not letting you touch my head anymore. See, that's a business casual haircut. It means that Salene has come to get things done.
It is. And we know that she's a bit of a fan, is Salene, of business casual. Because some of her outfits in season 2 were skewed towards business casual. Those grey trousers she used to wear.
And I do recall, I mean, maybe it was the first time, was it you? I apologize if it wasn't you, Tamsin, but a guest had mentioned that they thought that Selene's hair might have reflected her emotional state, and how she herself is a chaotic mess, and so is her hair, you know? So I do think there's something to be said about her hair. Just, damn, girl. And it says so much about, she has got it together from head to toe now.
I don't think I said that, but I will claim it as my own.
I apologize if it wasn't you, but it always stuck with me.
Yeah, it was a good assessment. Yeah,
right. I'm like, it's a great observation about her.
But I do agree. I think and the color, like the color is well done, because usually her color and Jack's color are quite patchy. I've had my hair colored that color, and it washes out really quickly. And sometimes their hair can be kind of patchy. It's perfect. It looks great. It's box fresh. We're ready to go. Everything is perfect.
I think the scene with Salene is a good example of visual storytelling. They're showing us that Salene has come to a whole new place emotionally and mentally before telling us that she has.
And I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. We need to talk about, well, obviously, one of the reasons why we don't get Tally possibly anymore is because of the way some of the cast were treated behind the scenes. I know this is something that a lot of fans wanted us to mention. A lot of the kids weren't treated that well behind the scenes. We're not given all the care that they needed, I think it's fair to say. And that's one of the biggest reasons why Tally's actress, Amelia Reynolds, didn't stay on, which probably affected why Andy couldn't stay, which is why the two of them weren't here. So if it just bears mention as well.
Well, kudos to Amelia and her parents for saying we're not putting up with that. And I'm not surprised. I mean, this has been happening since season 1. We heard how the actor Paul, the actor who played Paul, was treated behind the scenes. And that story still bothers me. So I am not surprised. And I applaud any parent who takes their children off that frickin' set.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I do this for a living, and I would say that it's not easy to withdraw your kids from this sort of production. So for them to do it, fair play for them to actually do it.
And it's not going to be long before we have to talk about this again, because Charlie's run is very short. Ooh. And we still actually don't know a lot about that. What happens with that? Shame, such a shame.
It is upsetting how exploited young performers are, and the fear that many parents may have speaking up about it and being considered stage parents because they're asserting their children's rights. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are plenty of stage parents who are entitled, see their children as their meal ticket, and think they can come in making demands because they benefit from it, not their kid. But I think the story is more often that you have parents who are like, no, you will not treat my children this way.
Yeah.
You know, if I don't protect them, who the frick will? And taking them away, you know? And I think that story is more common than not.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are better safeguards now. There are definitely better safeguards in the UK for children performing. I am one of those safeguards, but yeah, it is still one of those things that even if they don't want to do it anymore, if they're sort of tied into a show like this, it's going to take you longer to get out of it. They're going to have to finish filming before they're able to sort of extricate themselves from the production. I think we saw that in season 1, didn't we, with Amy Morrison? Because I think she left because she wasn't happy.
Definitely a running theme.
When you think about how many episodes these kids were rostered on to do, 52 episodes is so much. Even if they're not, I mean, they're not going to be, because of the nature of performance licenses, they're not going to be able to do a full run at it. It's not going to be, they're not going to be on set every single day. They're going to have breaks. They're going to have even half a month off because it's such a long production. But the fact is that it's going to be really tiring having to fit school around it. It's going to be tough. I mean, that's a year, almost a year of your life doing this. And it's huge.
This is, I back in season 2, I was thinking of the production of the show and the fact that these kids were touring. And all I could think was, this must have been insanity for these young performers. Always on the go. Like, I mean, you hear adults talk about doing a TV show, and the reason they did it is because they wanted a stable job that they can do. But they're still only working like less than half the year for the show. Those are adults, and they'll talk about how breakneck that is. And you're doing this to children, and they're making albums, and they're touring. Like, I can't imagine what these actors went through. So young, you know, and it's, you don't know who was really looking out for them and their well-being. And so, yeah, I'm just like, I believe it. If one of them, I'm going to believe them. I'm going to believe them if they say it was not a good experience for me, or I wasn't treated well. And it's just like, I believe you. I do, because that sounds like it was crazy what these kids were able to accomplish, what was asked of them, what they had to sign up for.
And I think the saddest thing is that all of them always meet the requirements. They always do the best they can do. You know, even if they're not the best performer, they will turn out a good performance. And I think that's really sad. It's taken for granted, it feels like.
A lot was asked of them.
Yeah.
And that's not just the, okay, this is the schedule. When you think about some of the subject matter that was asked of these young performers too, you know, like the tribe is not some easy, fun adventure of the week kind of show. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of emotion expected out of these kids, and the plots, what they actually involve. And you're asking a kid to convey these emotions, and that's I just don't know if they were protected as much as they should have been, and considered who you were dealing with, or how much they were taken advantage of due to the fact that they were young. So as sad as it is to say goodbye to anybody, if it was for their benefit, I'm glad they left, if that's why. You know, because I wouldn't want anybody. That's the hardest part about becoming an adult and starting to consume things responsibly, is finding out something you enjoy, that somebody was being exploited or was miserable in the background the whole time. That sucks every time you find that out. Like, oh, this was a TV show I grew up watching with my family. And then you find out that the person that you loved was doing something horrible behind the scenes, or this child was going through this behind the scenes. And it's like, how do I enjoy that anymore? Knowing, And so when I find out that somebody left because it was bad for their mental health, or what they were going through, as sad as it was to lose you, I'm glad I'm glad you left, because I value, your well-being, the character you played in a TV show, I'm sorry you went through it, though.
I mean, it was a different time and things have improved.
They improve in increments. There's a cycle to this sort of thing, especially with child performers. There's a cycle to it, and it's every 15 to 20 years. You're going to find out child stars that you watched went through the exact same thing. Okay, for example, in my generation, it was the Different Strokes kids. It was Macaulay Culkin. Okay, They were the kids that went wayward, and then the truth started coming out about the abuses and the way they were taken advantage of by both either it was showrunners or it was their parents. And you're like, oh my gosh, why aren't there better laws to protect these kids? Blah blah blah. And then some laws change, and you think everything is fixed. And then another 20 years later, you find out, oh, it was all the children in the 2000s, the Disney kids, the Nickelodeon kids. Guess what? They were going through the exact same things despite the law changes. And now they're old enough to speak out and tell you what they went through. And now more laws will change. And guess what? In 20 years, it's going to be all the children from the mommy vloggers and the family channels who are going to finally be able to speak out about how horrible that experience was or how it messed them up. Growing up with a camera in their face from the day they were born. It's a cycle. We can change the laws, but the improvements are only made incremental, and kids are still going to be exploited. So, back to making fun of this episode.
Oh, no, it's...
But to lighten the mood, we do have a pew-pew scene, so yay! So, the seven dwarves don't make a rather impressive showing as they confront the Technos at the stadium in Sector 9.
Believe me, it's better this way.
Your friends are better off too, especially the woman.
What's that supposed to mean?
They get looked after.
Fed.
We put the men to work, but the women live in luxury at our harems. And don't worry, there's no shortage of company. There's 3 guys to every chick. You little...
No! Yeah, panel, what do you make of Ebony's plan here? The relationship between Jay and Ved, and our first proper look at the Technos weaponry.
Ebony didn't have a plan. What we saw between Jay and Ved was what we'd already seen so far. The weaponry we've already also seen used on D. This felt like, can I press the missed opportunity button? May I press it, please? I believe this is the first time that it's going to be pressed for Series 4. Is that correct? Yep. I don't think we had one.
You have the honors, my dear.
I'm going to press it. It's been pressed. We missed an opportunity here for Jay and Ved. So the opportunity I feel that we missed was for Jay to basically say about what he said about the truck. And then when we get back to them in the office and they're having that conversation, I kind of wanted the reveal to be, Jay starts saying, what was all that harem stuff you were talking about? And then for Ved to say, yeah, well, what were you talking about them being able to get in a truck and go and get their friends and family? So that it's revealed that Jay was lying. He just wanted them to get in the truck so that they could take any sort of resistance away. And I feel like we didn't get that. We should have had that. It would have been more interesting. Because especially if someone like Ellie would have come forward and said, if we go in this truck, does that mean that I can take my sister and come home? And for him to say, yes. And for that to be a lie.
But then
we could have had that.
They'd have to admit that Jay is not a good person.
I know.
It's clear over 2 seasons, they want to whitewash Jay despite all of his evil deeds. Because yes, this is very clearly, in hindsight, he is lying to them. And either he is lying about knowing what is actually going to happen to their loved ones, which will come up again, that, either Jay clearly has no idea what's happening or just doesn't care what's happening to these people. They disappear in a truck, but they don't ever want to acknowledge that Jay is okay. They want you to think that Jay is an honorable person. He may be doing something bad, but it's coming from a good place because his girlfriend died, So that is why you're never going to get a scene where Jay is, where the narrative is painting Jay's actions as terrible, because they don't want you to see him as terrible, even though he absolutely, that's why Ved's there. Ved exists to make Jay look good.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Ved is the worst ever. Obnoxiously bad. It's just so that Jay can be doing the same job as Ved, but look like the guy doing the job, And so, yeah, it's not even a missed opportunity. It's more just the writers trying to gaslight you into liking Jay.
Mm-hmm. And not just that. It's the writers telling us that the fact that we're not going to see Alice and everyone again is because the mole rats didn't care enough about their friends and family to say, okay, I'm going to go on that truck if that means I can be with my sister or with my wife,
Yep, they don't ask any questions about that truck. Like, they literally being told, you can be reunited with your loved ones, and nobody, not even Lex, says, so if I get in that truck, I'll be with my wife.
Yeah.
None of them. They just kind of look at it.
Or Ellie going after it with a...
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to be with Alice,
I know it's an ugly truck and it's currently going to be a bumpy ride, guys, but what is stopping you from getting in that truck?
And being with your friends.
You would ask that question. You would ask that. You would say, if I go, can I come home? Can I take them home? What is the agreement I made?
Right, like, clarify what you mean.
I
If
can
I
be
get in
with
that
them.
truck, I'll be with them? Like, is that what you're saying? Because where are you taking them? Where would you be taking us if I get in that truck? No, nobody has any questions. They just look at the truck and think, ew, it's manual drive. You know what I mean? And that's it. They're not getting in. I wanted to like the scene.
I wanted
I really
to at least have some conflict in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Jack telling Ellie, no, it's too dangerous, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would have been the best too, for there to be conflict.
Right.
For her
Show
to go.
at least Ellie or Lex being like, okay, I'm getting in the truck, because as you said, they think emotional first rather than with their brains.
Yeah.
And they're the two who are that insistent on being reunited with their loved one. And they're the two who have a direct loved one taken from them. They should make a move for the truck. And then they're stopped or something. There should be a discussion. Do we get in the truck? Ebony could be like, no, we don't get in the truck. We don't even know if they're telling us the truth or whatever. But there should be a discussion, not just a glance at the truck and then decide, nah, I get car sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's the problem. There's too uniformity in the decisions that are being made. They don't make decisions like real people. Real people would react the way you and Sabine have mentioned, but these don't react like that. It's like they're a hive mind. We go where we're supposed to go. We look at the truck. We're not interested. We all know that's not going to get us our loved ones back. Give us our loved ones back.
Can you imagine if it had been Bray in that truck and late season 1 Amber going, okay, I can go after him, I can get my man back. There's no way she would have just stood there.
Yes, but also, as we saw when she had the antidote and she was up on the balcony and she was threatening to throw it over, she was risking everything to quiz Ebony, to try and get Ebony to do what she wanted. And it didn't pay off for her, but she would have asked the hell out of the Technos. She would have been, okay, so how long's the journey? Do I need to bring anything with me? In the end, they would have just said, look, which one is he? We'll release him.
Bray who?
You got a photo.
I mean, you just remind me, this is what as well I didn't like about this scene. Like, Ebony's smart. She is smart. You just make her come here, no plan, no idea of what's going on or how to make things work in your favor, and you're just like, you give her nothing to work with. You know what I mean? Like, this is not Ebony that I know.
Yeah. She looks dumb.
Yeah.
And also, how is Ebony not suspicious of the words Jay saying to her, do I know you? Have we met before? It's like, doesn't that make her suspicious at all? Even in the tiniest bit?
in fairness, why would she be suspicious?
Right. I'm gonna give that one a point because
Yeah,
one of the only things I like about the scene, because I tried very hard. I wanted to like the scene, but I found it very disjointed, especially with the inserts of where Ram is supposed to be, and it's never clear where Ram is supposed to be. Like, okay, so you're telling me that Ram was at the satellite station. Okay, fine. And again, I only know that because I know where Eagle Mountain is, and that's where the satellite station is, okay? But sorry, new fans, you have no idea where the frick Ram is even coming from, okay? And then there's a scene of him going through the alleyway in wheelchair, and I won't comment on that right now. There's plenty of the season to rage about the wheelchair. Anyway, so I'm like, why? Okay, so he's in the city now. He's in an alleyway, but then he's in the truck coming to the city, which Jay confirms on the comms, and I'm like, what was the alleyway about? Where the frick was that supposed to be? And now he's in the truck coming to the city, and all of that is interspersed in the scenes, which really made it disjointed, and like it was purposely trying to disorient me. No reason. The episode 1 disorienting me had a purpose because I'm meant to feel the chaos kids feel invasion. I'll let it slide. There's zero reason to have these cuts make zero sense in this episode. I should know where Ram is, where he's coming from, why he's where he is. Anyway, I wanted to like the scene. I even kind of like the scene between Jay and Ved, talking about like Jay just wants to get his job done. Zero reason. He doesn't want to fight with the gopher. Ved really wants to blow up the. I even liked when he says, "Oh, if I think you're getting your wish," and they see the kids on the camera. I thought that one shot of the fact that there's really only 7 of them, and Ved's like, "That's it." You know what I mean? Like, I thought there was something incredibly sad about that. You know, the fact that so pathetic that this is the resistance, that Technos would make fun of it. Like, that's it. So I was trying really hard to like this, you guys. I love the fact that Ved just casually throws in raping women. That's great. This is what my show has become. I'm sorry. What do you think an invasion force having harems of women is? You know what I mean? Like, I cannot believe that was just casually thrown in there.
Very casually, yeah.
Ved wanted to shoot somebody. He is so despicable. And it's just so Jay looks better. Just so that Jay's behavior looks acceptable. So he looks like the noble one you invented, Ved.
He's like his evil half.
Good Lord. I can't believe it. And then, of course, stupid wrist watch, laser, stun gun.
We have to talk about that, yeah. The first proper look at the zappers, like, we're going to see this weapon a lot through this whole season. This flick of the wrist activated, like...
I said it's the magic off button. When you don't know what to do with a character, you flick your wrist, they go to sleep, they take a zapper nap, and then you don't need to worry about them. That's what happened with Lex. They zapped him because the writers didn't know what else to do with him, and then he was just asleep, and they didn't even take him to a bed. They just left him on that really uncomfortable metal seat. I'm like, you don't know what's happened to him. He could have internal injuries. Let's just leave him here and put a duvet almost over his face.
I think of all the weaponry you can use. I understand. I completely understand not wanting to bring guns to conversation. And that's fine. We don't really use projectile weapons in the show. Crossbow only exception. That's okay. This was your solution. I am just flabbergasted. Because for 3 seasons, even when the show was at its worst, it was still grounded in reality, and I will never forgive the wristwatch laser cannons. I'm sorry. I know some people really like the tech, and I am not insulting you for enjoying it. I am so glad that you liked it. Glad you got that. I cannot enjoy it, and Ved looks so stupid. That wrist movement looks stupid, and I don't even know how this works. Spider-Man's web slingers make sense to me, like from an engineering point of view. And this thing, though,
This thing was so funny.
The tranquilizer darts would have worked better.
Mm-hmm.
But they're
The
not high-tech
explanation
enough.
was just a cherry on top. It was like, so they have this laser-based weapon that fires at the flick of a wrist, but then Jack comes on, it works on sound waves that disorientates the person. Like, isn't this nonsense that you're throwing at us? For real? Come on.
If it's sound based, why not a high frequency pitch sound?
Yeah.
And then you can just have all the technos usually wear like earplugs and things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're not affected by the sound that
And
debilitates people.
Plus, if it's sound waves, then you know how to protect yourself from it later on.
And that would be cool. The character's trying to figure out a way around it, Like the Technos have special ear protection because of the specific frequency, not just any old ear work or something like that, something grounded in reality that our characters solve. But no, they don't want the characters to have to try and work around this. They want to establish right away, you can't beat these guys. And that's it. There's no mystery to it. You just can't beat them. Whereas the Chosen, for example, built up the fear and his presence out there. Heck, they were off screen for most of season 2, but they were out there doing business. And you could feel there somewhere this threat, and then they take over, been converting people this time. But no.
Can I pick up on what you were just saying, though, about the idea that the Mallrats potentially going and doing some sort of heist where they have to get a headset and they have to get it to Jack, and Jack's going to see if he can recreate the tech or find out how it happens. That would have been more exciting. It would have been something for the characters to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do get a bit of scene with Jack later on where he tries to work out the tech that destalls, but it's just like, they obviously didn't want to focus on the weapon because then that would be too easy to fight as a Technos.
Take apart.
Do we think that the Zapper would have worked better if it had been more like, because you mentioned the phasers that you get in Star Trek Lance?
Oh, no, wait.
Do we think it had been a...
Before you say that, can I just mention how silly this is? Because what makes this techno weaponry even worse is that there are at least a confirmed 7 settings on this fantastic futuristic device that they have managed to create. It has at least 7 settings. Like, it's just ridiculous. Sorry, for me, it's just ridiculous how you've just thrown this at us after crossbows and like.
Yeah, but do we think the Technos actually created this, or do we not think that they're the sort of army brats that lived on a base?
Yeah.
And were essentially inherited this tech.
No, that's our headcanon, but we're meant to believe that Ram and stuff and co created this. Everything else is headcanon.
I'm calling on that right now. The headcanon's better.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Any headcanon.
The thing is, I don't doubt that Ram perfected it. That's the thing. They could have been left a bunch of prototypes, a bunch of handsets that had been created but not fully finished. I don't doubt that he took them and finished them. That makes sense. And that maybe he worked out how to create more. But I do doubt that he created it originally. No.
Not from scratch.
The idea, not from scratch. No.
Found the plan somewhere on a computer? Sure.
Exactly. But
we won't get into the books. Listening viewers, yes, we have read the books, but we're not going to get into that. No, it's fine.
I just think they're all from a base. Other than Java and Siva, I think they've all come from a base somewhere. I think they're army brats who were in bunkers, who have now merged because they've run out of the raw materials that they needed to keep their life going. And so now they're branching out. They've used the little tech that they have to try and make a name for themselves in this city and start something new for themselves. That's my headcanon, and that's what I'm sticking to.
We all find ways to cope, Tamsin.
Yeah, it's the zappers are the most unrealistic part for me.
Absolutely.
I can reason away a lot of the other things later on, but not these.
I mean, again, once again, on paper, this is fine. The kids come, there's an altercation, and they are shown in one swift move that this group isn't something they can take on with force or even strong words, and that's how the scene ends. Their only brute being Lex being taken out, but it doesn't land visually, especially since Lex has lost his teeth. And again, it just doesn't visually. That is only 7 of them out of an entire city of kids. This is an entire city of kids who wanted to torch the mall because they couldn't have the Guardian.
Yep.
We know there are people out there who are reactive to pain and trauma. Where are they when an invading force swoops in and starts taking their people? You're going to have a lot of stupid people out on the streets trying to confront the Technos. It wouldn't, you know what I mean? There wouldn't be this quiet with just the mall rats walking alone. I just...
And these mall rats aren't even pretending that they're from different tribes or anything.
Nope, I wanted to like the scene. I was trying to find the good in it. Really was. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I was. And I didn't find it anywhere, you guys. The only thing I liked was Ebony and Jay's banter with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's because I'm biased. I'm like, oh, they're perfect for each other. They
deserve each other.
These guys are great. I felt that immediately. I felt great chemistry. I like the way she reacted to him. And and I agree that there's no reason she should have been suspicious when he's like, have I seen you somewhere? And she's just like, oh, I've heard that line before, because in her head, her sisters are long gone, and she has zero reason to believe her sisters are with this outfit, or that Jay has seen her sisters, sees the resemblance. So why would she expect anything than a guy coming on to her, laying it on thick, especially when she's just pissed and trying to prove to the 6 people with her that she can get something done, because they're literally all the people she has, which is...
It's depressing.
You had an entire city of people vote for you, Ebony, and these are the 6 people that you went to for help.
Would we not have gotten some Mozzie stand-ins? I don't understand.
No, they're all gone, Lance.
Well,
he's the only one that got away.
Yeah.
Everybody's gone.
Just...
I am going to say, it makes sense that Ebony did not pick up on that line, but Jay should have recognized Ebony. He at least should, I know he said, oh, do I know you from somewhere? Yes, you do. You see her exact doubles every day at work.
The family resemblance, I mean, some people can instantly see a family resemblance. Some people can notice a bit, but not really
come on.
clock in their head.
On.
No, I get that.
I would buy it.
Hair.
I get that.
Look, I would buy it more if he was just like, hey, I know someone with the exact same hairstyle as you. It's kind of rare around these parts.
It's like you go to the same person to get the hair done.
I mean, there is a height difference as well, so you may not clock it immediately because
Again, guys, this is here for the audience.
Yeah.
They see this is foreshadowing. It's so clever, isn't it?
Oh no!
Is this as deep as it gets? Oh my days.
This is as deep as it gets. Ooh, there's lore. Oh, I am so sorry for people who season 4. I have not been generous this episode. I apologize. I hope to do better in the future.
Back at the mall, the gang are reunited with Salene, who takes Chloe's return in her stride before trying to rouse the dispirited mall rats to fight back against the invaders.
The one who was looking for me, he said something about quotas. He said he nearly filled his quota.
Okay, so they've got all the slaves they need. Now maybe they'll leave us alone.
Well, what about the mall rats? Do we just forget about our friends?
But what else can we do?
Fight back, of course.
Like you did against the Chosen?
Yeah. What did you make of the reunion here? Ebony calling Salene out and Selene's epiphany about herself.
Ebony is the last person who can call anyone out on anything. She has
and yet,
right to do that.
She always does. She always does. Like, that's audacity.
That they let her. They never got back at her.
They all
That
say,
is
yeah.
a whole grain, gluten-free audacity that Ebony has. I hope to have her confidence when I grow up. Swear to God.
Yeah, that's true. Be Ebony. You'll take over the world.
Exactly. Own up to nothing.
Her whole attitude is yes and.
Exactly. Exactly. That is her in a nutshell. Yes, and I don't mind the scene that much. I just have a problem with how casually Chloe and Salene. Part of me kind of gets it because of everything going on. This isn't really the time to talk about the fact that, oh my gosh, last time I saw you, I thought you were going to be put to death. Like, this isn't really the time, but it is so casual that it just undermines the fact that the last time Salene saw Chloe is she was spying for the Chosen and got sent away, and you didn't know if she would be back alive, and you were gone by the time she returned. You know what I mean? Like, I just, it is way too casual, and I don't think they ever like revisit this moment.
No,
it's just a little too like.
It's that casual that I forgot that happened. That was the last time they saw each other. I forgot that.
Mm-hmm.
Last time you saw this child that you played a part in raising, you played happy families with, that you didn't know if she was going to live, both in a very traumatizing situation, and you were people left and right. And here she is, you come back to the mall and she's fine. This little girl that you took care of like months after the virus, and she's alive and in one piece and looks great, and all you can be like is, hey girl, how you doing? Like, I'm like, what? That's all you have to say is a casual side hug? A side hug. That's all Chloe got was a side hug? Like, oh my gosh. Like, what the frick, writers?
That's hilarious, yeah.
Do you think they forgot? Given the Pride Ned thing, do you think they also forgot about
You know what?
Salene and Chloe?
No. I don't think they forgot. I just think they just didn't want to... They didn't have time to focus on it.
I just think they thought the viewers were stupid. Like, seriously do.
That
like,
goes without saying.
I don't want to deal with this, and the viewers are too stupid to notice or care.
Don't want to deal with it. Ain't got time to get...
Whatever. I wouldn't mind if they'd revisited it later. Like, with the girls actually have a chance to... Oh my gosh, I didn't have a chance, but I'm so glad to see you. How are you? What did you... Blah, blah, blah. You know, like the way Chloe and Trudy actually have a... You know what I mean? Like, they at least address the fact that there's history between these two girls, and Trudy has something to say to this child that she tormented, you know, and gaslit in front of everybody. Like, they at least have the moment. So it's like, I could forgive them not having the chance to do it right now because there's something really serious going on if they revisited it later, but I don't think they do. And it's just so casual. Because I'm just like, do you not remember how these two parted last time? Then again, it's not like Salene cared last time when Chloe did go get sent away. So maybe this is fitting. But you're telling me that Salene has grown up and she's changed and she's gone through the relation of a person, found herself. You think part of that would be recognizing you completely let this child down. You failed her. Let's acknowledge that. Okay?
Yeah, no, she's replaced her with a new one.
She has. Mouse, run. Right? Salene will eventually let you down as a mommy. And she does. So
we laugh about this, but Mouse is the only one to escape the Mallrats' clutches. So.
Hey, I will stand firm that Mouse is the smartest person this tribe has ever gotten. Okay.
Yep.
I love Mouse. I think she's great. I was on the Mouse train from the minute I saw her.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, she had to. Mouse had to drag my love for her kicking and screaming. She finally got it, and it's well earned, girl. But I didn't want to give it to her. I was fuming. No, I refuse to like you. I don't care how cute you are. It took a while, but she got me. She got me. But otherwise, I don't think this is a bad scene. I actually like that moment between Ebony and Salene because it's such an Ebony thing to say. And that did feel human. Like, here's Salene telling these guys, like, they need to fight. And it's like, I'm sorry, who are you? Excuse me? Like, of course, someone should say something about that.
Someone should say, oh.
Oh, really? We should fight? And I actually like the fact that Salene owns it. Again, now that they're telling us Salene has found herself, it works because they already showed her that Salene is a different person. And I believe her when she's like, look, I know who I've been. I know where I've been. And there's some things I learned. I didn't find Ryan, but I found me. And this is what we got to do. And I think that actually works to transition Salene into the position they need her to be. They need the strong female warrior on the side of light. Ebony will never be that character. She can't have it. And so the closest they can ever get Ebony to it is, antagonist if she's not the villain. You know what I mean? That's what Ebony wants to be. One in the Mallrats to be that role. And of course, Amber isn't available because Beth had to go to school. So I was like, if they're going to give it to someone, I thought the way they transitioned Salene into that spot, they did it well enough. And I like what she had to say, and I was happy to see Salene reach this, because as much as she's always frustrated me, even when I was like one of the few people still defending her when other people weren't, I wanted to strangle her. I was happy for her. Oh, thank God. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Whatever happened out there in the wild, that you've reached this point where you're no longer looking for someone else to hold your hand and take care of you. You're taking agency of your life. You realize you have that power close to you. And I thought that actually was done. It made more sense than Ebony waltzing into the mall and giving these guys a moralizing pep talk after everything she's just done to them. You know what I mean?
Can I ask my Ryan question now?
Sure. Yeah. I'll allow it.
Okay. So thank you. So how did we feel about the line of dialogue about Ryan? Anyone surprised, or
at least there was one?
Yeah, at least they acknowledged that that's why she left, and it felt final that Ryan isn't coming back. She went to find him. She didn't. And that's that. She can't find him. We don't know where Ryan is. I wrote him his own happy ending. You know what I mean? Like I can just, okay, it's at least you made it clear. Ryan's not coming back because someone literally went searching for him and didn't find him, and doing his thing and hopefully happy, and probably better off. And I even think there's something poignant about Salene acknowledging that I didn't find him, because we know that's what she wanted. She was trying to rewrite history and make everything right. And she didn't get the chance to do that. But instead of letting that break her, she's moving. And so I was happy they mentioned him, just made it clear. He's not coming back. Because they could have pulled a fast one saying, I found some information and I haven't given up, because that's them dangling the carrot that Ryan might still come back, It's like, don't do that.
So that leads us to our final thoughts of the episode.
Commander Jay wishes to report.
Jay,
the city's ours.
You're safe to enter. All opposition crushed. Now the game begins.
So yeah, panel, we did mention the disjointed nature of these shots being thrown earlier, but yeah, what did you make of this kind of announcement?
I didn't understand, as Liz said, distances that people were travelling. I didn't like the mask thing either. Just pull it up over your nose, as Liz said. Also, my question was this. What direction was Trudy travelling in? Because she's travelling away. She had to double back on herself and hide because the truck was coming towards her. So she's going away from the city?
Apparently.
Where's she going? I know she's looking for Bray, but I'm going to also say another thing. If I was Amber and Trudy was like, I just need to duck out a minute, and she took Brady with her, I'd be like, oh my God, this just got real. Why did she take a Brady? What is going on? Is she leaving me here? Is that it?
Well, as you say, she was bewitched by the devil child. Notice that Trudy was like, you focus on your son. I'm just going to duck out for a minute. And she hot-tails it away with her kid. Amber was too enamored by Lucifer's spell to notice there's something fishy going on. It's the blood loss, guys. Now, I guess she was going away from the city. I don't know why, because last time she checked, it was the city where the noise and the danger was coming from, and that's why Lex and Pride found it pertinent to abandon her there with a small child. So you think if you want to know what's going on out there, you might go in that direction. But, I guess We don't know.
She might just be following the tracks of trucks.
She's scenting the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It is staged oddly. There's no doubt. It is just not
Magic
presented well.
Magic abilities she learned while she was with the Gaians, I guess.
I just think it's convenient that of all of the roads in the city, this offhand road that doesn't look like a major highway or even a back road that Bray and Amber happen to find themselves on is the way into the city from Eagle Mountain. But it is whatever. That's what it is for me. It's a whatever set in the stage scene that we've been we've gotten these hints of Ram and his odd behavior. I am just confused again. We know they're at Eagle Mountain, the satellite station. Look at the way that place is set up. And you're like, is that supposed to be the same satellite station that the kids were at that blew up? And to the fact that they literally couldn't be inside the building because there was no building left. Where is Ram in this place where he's got all these cameras set up? Like, where is this supposed to be? Or are we supposed to forget the place blew up? You know what I mean? Like, are we supposed to forget that? So that's one. I
Like, so much. Don't press too hard on the glass. It will shatter.
Yes.
Just go with it. That was the thing that happened.
Yeah. And that's how it feels. And I'm already starting to think maybe I shouldn't have gotten on this ride. That's how I feel. Like, okay, I'm supposed to go along with the ride, but I'm already getting car sick.
You're not allowed to get off.
Like, I'm starting to regret this decision.
Don't make me send Damien around for you.
Drop me off at the next corner, guys. I'll walk the rest of the way.
I hate to mention the books, but it does kind of feel like he heard the criticism for suddenly starting off in Eagle Mountain and then retroactively tried to make it work in the books.
Okay, I need filled in because audience, I have never read the books because I can get fan fiction for free. And there's a lot of good fan fiction out there. I'm not paying for bad fan fiction. So please explain to me what this Eagle Mountain thing is in the books.
Oh my god. What have you done?
You started it, Lance, so finish it. Let's go. I want to know. Fill me in.
Ooh. Okay, that's a rabbit hole.
Wow, he's going to leave me hanging until we finish these 2 seasons, guys. This is what he's doing. And then I'll be forced to read these books.
I can lay it on you, but it's... You're not going to like it.
I know I'm not going to like it, Lance. Why do you think I've not read these books?
We're going to make you.
We're going to make you, yeah. I think you finding this out naturally is going to be very good.
Oh my gosh!
That's how good it is.
But the punishment fit the crimes.
Oh, wow. I hope my pain brings somebody a little bit of joy when they pop us on while they're working. I didn't like this episode. I don't know if that was obvious to anybody.
I was really surprised to learn that. I thought it was your favourite episode. I thought that's what brought you into the fandom.
Yeah, the birth of the Messiah.
I didn't enjoy this at all.
I have to say, this was a very odd second episode. Like, it didn't really feel like there was anything of substance that happened. Like, it just felt very buying time. And for a second episode, that was very weird.
It felt like this was B-real though from episode 1.
Yeah.
Like I was so confused when it ended. I was like, oh, okay, and then it ended.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
It still feels like a good thing that they tended to air double episodes here.
It's episodes like this that make me question the filming schedule. And again, this is not the first time I felt this. Clearly, there's plenty of times, even since season 1, especially since it's been mentioned that the kids they obviously weren't filming daily for a year. So,
no.
I wonder if one of those where they just like filmed a bunch of stuff in a chunk, and then just like when they were editing, be like, okay, definitely enough episode, and then it's scraping together footage to be like, okay, we can make that an episode.
Yeah,
and, I mean, this is one of those episodes that gave me that feeling that there was just a ton of crap filmed all at once, And then in editing, they were like forming it into episodes.
That's exactly what I think they did do. It feels like there was a lot of second unit material used on this. Like, for instance, when Ram was traveling through that bit of the city that wasn't the bit of the city, it was just some alley in Eagle Mountain. That felt like second. That felt like second unit. It also potentially felt like, and we saw this with the Bray footage. It felt like maybe they didn't have enough, so they needed to pad out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and they needed to make it obvious that Bray was in a truck being taken away.
Yeah, so they used the footage from season 3 of him and Moon in the back of wagon of horse wranglers.
Yeah.
To, you know,
and
it's good for the fan fiction, though.
I think the Ram footage was maybe from when he was actually in the city, but they reversed when it actually happened.
Yeah.
So it seems like he's already in the city. Then he isn't in the city. He's driving to the city.
Yeah, it was confusing.
But yeah, it is. These 2 episodes have been really confusing in terms of geography, in terms of people teleporting places. Yeah. And also, at the end, that final shot, who is driving the van that they're in? It's that Liam Neeson moment at the end of Taken when who's driving the boat?
That shot is ridiculous.
It is. They're all crowded into that one view. And like, let's be honest, we talked about the germphobe that is Ram. Okay, why are they so close to him? Has he never heard of the 6 meter rule?
6 meters. Oh wow!
Is it 6 meters? Is it 6 feet?
It's a 1.5.
Something like that, isn't it?
It's 1.5 meters.
1.5, yeah.
Oh, is it? I'm not very good at that. So I'm like, just stay away from me in the pandemic. I don't want COVID. I didn't get COVID. Keep away from me.
Only one word sums up this episode. It's kind of informative. It's expositional. Salene is the high point. So what does that tell you? It is a silly episode.
It's not a great episode
It's classic filler. That's what it is. It's classic filler.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because it's episode 2!
Episode 2.
It's doubling down on the new status quo. You didn't believe us when we said this is what you have to deal with? Well, this is the episode that pulls it home. This is what you have to deal with. Everybody's gone. You're stuck with us.
This feels as bad. Now, Lance, you will understand this when I say this. This feels as bad as Space Babies. Being the opener for Doctor Who, Series 1/50, or whatever we're calling it now. This is as bad as that.
Yeah, an odd choice. Yeah.
And if I recall the way I felt, as I said, I remember saying, first episode is not what turned me off, even though it was tonally different, that the premiere didn't make me go, screw this, I'm not watching this show anymore. But I can say that this second episode, I know I didn't have a good response to it. It's definitely where the doubts came creeping in. You know, like, I already don't like the direction we're going in. You know, but you know, a lot of that is more like writing, you know, and just the way it's filmed and how the story is being told. Because you can sell people on any story, okay? I want that clear. Sell people on any story about how you do it, how you write it, how you present the story. No matter how lame the story is, how simplified it is on paper, you can sell it. And I do not feel like they are selling this story. But I'm locked in. I'm trapped. They won't let me go, guys.
There's no escape.
There's no escape. That's what I wanted. I wanted to have to watch season 4 and not be able to get away from it. So here I am. I was straight and upfront. I don't like this episode. So I'm open to next one. Maybe episode 3. Win me back. I'll find more objectively interesting things to say about it other than horrible.
How can you not like Mouse?
I didn't. I'm just being honest. I didn't like her at first. I was like, I don't like cheap tricks, and I don't like small children. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have to do more than present me with a cute face. I'm never won over by a cute kid in a movie. Like, the cute kid has to be interesting. There's got to be something done with them. But you can't just put a cute kid on the screen and expect me to be won over. If you put a cute duck on the screen, okay, you've got me. But cute kids, sorry, they're a dime a dozen. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, at first, no, I didn't give a crap. I was afraid, you know. But hey, I love Mouse now. I think she's the greatest mall rat that ever existed. Are you kidding? She's my favorite mall rat ever.
That brings Series 4, Episode 2 to a close. Thank you very much to the panel, and you can show your support by clicking on that like and subscribe and following us on all the major platforms. You can also leave us a comment or get in touch if you'd like to take part in a future episode of the podcast yourself. Just search for thetribe.uk or Conversations on Eagle Mountain. You can also throw us a donation. Just head on over to buymeacoffee.com/thetribe.co.uk. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.